So I wanted to go and give you guys a quick review on what I've learned from using the Phantom 4s over this time period. I own a couple of these. This is the newest one that I acquired. I actually had purchased this from Frank at Carolina Drones and had him send it out, and I was putting it against the other one that I picked up right at launch date, and I thought that they were going to be the same, but I'm totally wrong. They are not the same, at least in my experience so far. This is the newest one, and one of the things, if you saw the other video that I had when I did my quick review on the Phantom 4, if you want to take a look, I'll put the link down here at the bottom. One of the things that I talked about was how taking that gimbal off, you kind of had to put your own little dot here and to help line it up. Well, it looks like DJI, either they watched the video or maybe they got plenty of complaints about it, because they have little markings here now, so it makes it much more clear on where you need to put these feet and lock up the gimbal and put it in the proper position. The one other thing that I've been doing that I learned, here's a couple of chargers, and one of the things, just for illustration, I wanted to show you, when you plug these things into your battery and your transmitter, it's a pretty tight fit, and this really high gloss that you have on this, it's the same thing that you have like on the charger or on the plastic that's on the bird. It's very slippery, and it's hard to grab, especially when it's humid out or you get oily or anything on your fingers. It's very hard to grab a hold of these things and pull them out, and what happens is a lot of people are resorting to grabbing a hold of the wires and yanking them out, which is a no-no. So what I did was, this is just a suggestion. I just went and put some, sports tape, the hockey tape type of stuff, something to give it a little bit more grit. I put them on all of the fixtures here, so it makes it a little bit easier to grab a hold of and pull them off the charger. So just food for thought. Now, I also want to talk to you guys about a couple of apps that I use that I found to be really useful for day-to-day flying and using this as a hobby, and that's UAV Forecast and Hover. Now, this is on the iOS system, obviously, and I apologize for the background, but I tried to get out of that glare situation that I was outside, so I'm inside my my truck trying to do this real quick. But UAV Forecast, just real quickly, you can set this. So you can set this up to different parameters, but at a glance, it'll tell you whether or not it's good to fly, what your wind speeds are, your KP, and I'm not going to go into what KP is. You guys are going to have to Google that, but it's kind of a radio static interference and so forth, so it's kind of good to know that. But you can click on map, and based on whatever your parameters are, I mean, you can just check, no, I'm not flying here, but you can kind of get an idea of all the different hazards that are around you, airports, landing pads, or whatever the case might be. You can tell here in Southern California it's not great for when you're in the heart of the suburbs. Now, the other one is Hover. The other thing that I love about Hover, it does kind of the same thing. So you can go in here on your map and it'll tell you what kind of hazards are around you. You can click on the forecast. It tells you your current conditions, and it gives you pretty much the same information that you get from the other app. But the one thing that was really cool about this, that I love about Hover, is you can click on the news, and based on what your settings are and the parameters of where you're gathering your news, you can set it in your app. You can go through here real quickly at a glance and take a look at what's important to you in the UAV community. I just think that's kind of cool. So the two apps again are UAV Forecast and Hover. I just find that those are really good to have. They're fun, they're good information, and that's my 2 cents worth. So going back to the quick comments that I had on the Phantom 4, the first versions, and then of course the later versions that I'm seeing that they made a few changes on. I'm also noticing, and this is just me, I'm also noticing that my latest version of the Phantom 4 seems to have a little bit better range. I don't know why. I've tried taking the transmitters and I've swapped them. I've taken the other transmitter and I've done a sync to this bird and vice versa to see if the transmitter was actually the difference, and it's not. It is definitely the Phantom 4 bird itself, because when I fly both of them in the exact same location and I do one run after another, alternating from one to the other, this newer one seems to have a little bit better range. I don't know why that is. Maybe the antenna is placed in a better location. I don't know, but maybe DJI made some tweaks or modifications to the later versions. Obviously, they made a couple modifications to lining up the gimbal lock, so maybe they found a couple different things that they can improve on to increase range a little bit. But definitely seen a difference in the latest version of the Phantom 4. Just my 2 cents worth, and I wanted to let you guys know. So if you want to know whether or not you got the first earlier versions of the Phantom when you're purchasing it, or you got the newest ones, I think the easiest way to tell is just flip it over on the bottom and take a look at the bottom skids. And if you have these marks here on the bottom of the skids, that seems to be the later version, because I'm out here in Timbuktu and I didn't bring the other one with me, but the other one, you can see on the other video, it does not have this marking here to line up your gimbal lock, so that's one of the indications of the earlier version.